The streets of Mumbai, India are always hectic with people, and this many people means a ton of street food on offer. So we're taking you on a huge Indian street food tour today.
Mumbai is a street food paradise. This is the second video in our India series, and we're exploring some of the city's most vibrant spots to hunt down some mouth-watering Indian street food. We're going to eat some mind-blowing snacks, smoky kebabs, and the most insane bone marrow dish. So make sure you watch right to the end because you don't want to miss this.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
We hope you're hungry. Let's eat.
Our first stop is smack bang in the middle of our gigantic jewellery bazaar. So let's go and grab our first snack. We have our first snack, and it is the Dahi Wada. It was so cool watching the guy make it. So he grabbed this deep fried lentil donut and smushed it on the plate. It was really soft because it had some yogurt and some chutney already on top of it. And then he added a whole pile of things. So he sprinkled some more masala or spice on top, some chili powder, some dollops of green chutney, some yogurt, and then some tamarind chutney. And he just sprinkled a little bit of coriander and then a few puffed rice bits. This looks super tasty. Whoa, it is just so soft to the touch, that lentil donut. And look at all those colours on there, the green, the red, the brown. Wow, it's super soft and the texture of the donut's almost creamy. It's really soaked up all of that yogurt and the chutneys. The chutneys are really vibrant, so they're really sweet, a little bit tangy from the tamarind chutney. And you've got all those spice, so like a little bit of chili, that aromatic like masala. This is so good. Let's go again. For that. This is just the perfect thing to be eating on a day like this. It's a little bit cooling because of the yogurt, and there's so much going on. We're right in the middle of the bazaar, and there's just people everywhere going about their business, eating, chatting. It's an awesome first stop.
This bazaar is absolute street food paradise. We've walked about 2 meters to get to our next stand, and we've ordered a Masala Kichiya. And look at this plate, it's just so colorful. So the base of this is a giant papadum, and he just crushed that on the plate and then has covered it in so many ingredients. So we've got tomato, cucumber, coriander, fried lentils, we've got chutney, there's a green chutney and a red chutney on there, and then all of that is covered in these crispy sev, which are these little chickpea flour crispy bits. Let's just try and grab a good big slice of this papadum. Oh, look at all the colors on there. Whoa. Whoa. The fresh vegetables are a burst of freshness and flavor. But then the chutney. On that one I got a lot of that red chutney, and it's actually a really sweet spice, and then the little crispy bits on top. But the papadum is screaming with flavor. I thought that would just be a vessel for everything on top, but actually it's quite salty, but it's also just bursting with flavor. Oh, that red chutney is such a great spice. I want one now that's covered in the green chutney, so that's probably a coriander chutney. Oh, yeah, coriander. Wow, that one's a little bit spicier. Just a burst of flavor, the crunch, the freshness of the vegetables, unreal. And there's just this huge stack of papadums here, which they're making right on the street. And I love that the papadum, have a look at this, it's much sturdier than most papadums you find. So it's very thick, it's almost like a sort of a pastry base. It's got a real denseness to it, but it's still super crunchy and super fresh tasting. This is another brilliant snack. Speaking of these crazy good papadums, look how they're being made right here on the street. So he's got a little charcoal burner and he's just flipping those papadums right on the charcoals to give them those beautiful crispy burnt edges that they've got. Unreal.
Our Indian street food tour continues. We're at our next stop and just look at the feast that we have got in front of us. This here is called chicken Hakimi. It is a twist on tandoori chicken. It looks incredible. This here is the special dish Nalli Nihari, which translates to bone gravy. We're going to chuck a whole lot of this ginger and chili on top of the Nalli Nihari and then eat it with these huge crispy tandoori roti. Alright, let's get into this Nalli Nihari. Okay, I'm gonna load up some of this ginger and green chili and stick that over the top. Squeeze a little bit of this lime over it as well. You can just see, first off, the bone marrow. It is unreal. So chunks of bone marrow, that's that white stuff there. You've got the gravy sitting underneath and a sort of a thin oily top on that, and then this piece of beef which just looks so tender. And when they say beef on menus in India, they actually mean water buffalo. So this is water buffalo shank, so it's just been cooked for hours in these copper pots. I'm gonna rip this tandoori roti. Oh, it's so crispy, so puffy. And then just dip it into this Nalli Nihari. Oh my gosh, this is insane. I cannot get over that bone marrow. Okay, so I've got a huge chunk of that roti covered with that bone marrow and some ginger. Let's go. Whoa, that bone marrow just dissolves in your mouth. The gravy is so thick, very aromatic and fragrant. Just a tiny touch of spice or chili heat, but that is amazing, and the ginger is super fresh. Let's just test and see how tender this beef is. Holy moly. I've just barely prodded it with that spoon and it just fell to bits. So this piece of beef has been cooking in copper pots for hours and hours. I've got to get into this. Alright, let me get some of this roti and then just grab a huge chunk of that beef. Whoa, look at that. Okay. That is the most tender piece of beef I have ever eaten. It just falls apart in your mouth. The gravy is really rich but quite light, so it's not overly punchy. It's just really well rounded. It's got great depth of flavour, but the richness of that bone marrow and that beef is the star of the show. It's time to try this chicken Hakimi. So it's a special recipe, but I have been told that there is yogurt, so curd, and also butter. And you can see that it's just coated in this sort of shiny, oily goodness. Let's just give it a big bite. Oh yeah, it is so good. It is really flavoursome. The meat still has a lot of bite, but you can really just taste that tandoori. Like, it's just a beautiful smoky flavour. And then you've got that sauce of yogurt and the butter's just so rich. That is sensational.
Next up, it's time for a sweet treat. We've got some jalebi here from the stand behind me. So these are some little sweet treats, and these were amazing watching them being made. So they have a little piping bag and they're piping this very thick batter straight into really hot oil in a huge wok. Then once they start to golden up and crispy up, they get these huge spatulas, mix them all through that oil so the oil is coating them all over. They take them out of that oil and dump them in a second wok, which is full of a sugar syrup. And once again, they just dunk them and dip them in all that sugar syrup, pull it out, shake off the excess, and you've ended up with this little morsel. Wow. Oh yeah. It's super sweet. Super sweet. Really sticky. The inside's actually quite moist. So the sugar syrup's gone inside to it and it's just burst that sweet sugar syrup. The batter is a very plain flavor. It tastes like sugar. It is incredibly sticky, incredibly sweet, and a really good little sweet treat after all the meat we've just had.
We couldn't resist one more sweet treat, and that is gulab jamun. It's one of my favorite Indian sweets. It's made out of a milk solid, and they deep fry it in hot oil, and then they take it out and just dump it into sugar syrup, and it just soaks up all that sugar. God, look at that. It is just soaked in sugar. Holy moly. If you have a sweet tooth, this is the one for you. It's really soft, super sweet, almost a little bit squishy. It tastes a little bit like a really soft, sweet donut. It's amazing.
Now it's time for more meat. We've got some Sikh kebabs here. So we have some chicken ones and some mutton ones, and they're cooking them on the grill behind me. So the Sikh kebab is a mince kebab. So they take minced meat, mix it with, I think, coriander by the looks of it, and then mush it onto the steel pole or the kebab stick, and then chuck that straight on the charcoals and cook it that way. When they're finished, they just slide it off onto the plate. So really simply put together, simply cooked, and simply eaten. So we have a roti to go with it, a giant golden looking, crispy looking roti, and then it just comes with some chutney and some onion, etc. So let's peel off some of this roti. Oh, it's not actually as crunchy as I was expecting. It's quite soft. And I want to get some of this chicken kebab. Oh, it's so soft. Oh, that's amazing. So I got that, and we'll put that straight into this green chutney. All right, dripping with chutney. That meat is so soft, and the chutney's got a bit of chili in it for heat, so it's a little bit spicy, the chutney, but I think it has a little bit of mint in it and a lot of coriander, but there is a real sharpness there, so I think that's mint. That is beautiful. Grab another big piece of roti, and I want to try this mutton one, and this has the most incredible scent. It smells really caramelized and sweet and sticky. Oh, feels amazing. It's super crispy. Dunk that in the chutney as well. Oh, that is good. Really soft again. Sort of the same flavor base. So like the spice from the chutney, it's exactly the same chutney. This one has some coriander in it as well. But the mutton and the coriander just go together perfectly. I'm gonna grab off another piece of roti because I want to have another big piece of this. You can see how juicy it is inside. Look at that. I'm actually going to eat this one without the chutney so I can just taste this meat. Oh, that is so soft and so perfectly spiced. That is an awesome mouthful. Another epic food day. Don't forget to check out the rest of our Indian street food videos.
We've got so many more India food videos to come, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a huge thumbs up, and if you want to support Chasing Your Plate content, check out our Patreon page. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Alvida!
Alvida!